Hello guys, welcome again to the channel. Today I want to share with you my opinion on this topic. I already talked about this topic in another video previously, and today I'm talking about this again because it's 400 days since I started practicing this again in a more consistent way. This started again in May 7, 2021. So that's when I restarted this, because I have been practicing this kind of transcendental sexuality since I was 18. When I first learned about it, I thought it was really amazing, and then I became married and I was practicing during my marriage, so it was really good. And I consider that this is very useful, especially nowadays where we have a lot of problems, especially among young people. With this new generation where pornography is really everywhere practically. I was born in 1970, so I went through my teenage years in a different way from what teenagers go through today, where pornography is everywhere, is readily available, so that allowed me to develop my sexuality in a more healthy way. And this is why I consider necessary to talk about this topic, so to offer an alternative to the new generation and the generations that came after me that didn't have as much opportunity to develop their sexuality in a more normal way. So let's get into the topic. So these are the topics I'm going to cover. Is ordinary sexuality, like most people do, Nofap, semen retention, and finally sexual magic. The ordinary sexuality is what everyone knows, so it's what people think this is the only thing. Basically is commonly accepted sexual behavior, including masturbation and sexual intercourse. Semen is ejaculated, so it's just normal sexuality that most of the population in the world practices. And of course this also includes the addiction to pornography, even if it is not explicitly mentioned. Masturbation has become a problem for people, even though urologists and other medical experts say, oh, there's nothing wrong with masturbating too much. They even say there isn't such a thing as masturbating too much, like it's healthy, you should do it several times a week or even several times a day. I'm surprised by this, even from the medical point of view. People should be more knowledgeable and don't just rely on what anatomy is doing, because I don't think has ever done real serious research about the benefits of masturbating every day. I don't see any benefits, even from the urological point of view. I don't see it, but that's just my opinion. So this is what everyone does, or most people do. 99% of the people practices this kind of sexuality, so that's what it is. Then became this trend that is called Nofap. Nofap is a movement that is trying to help people that have some addiction to pornography, and of course addiction to masturbation, to the point where it becomes a problem in their lives, and they are unable to function in a more normal way. They have serious repercussions in their personal, professional life. So they want to overcome this, and then became this movement. And basically, Nofap is an alternative sexual behavior aimed at helping men overcome pornography addiction and basically masturbation addiction, because rarely you will see someone doing this. And this includes edging, sexual abstention, temporarily, and sexual intercourse infrequently. And semen ejaculation is done less frequently to help overcome the addiction to watching pornography and excessive masturbation. So this has helped countless people. I think it is a positive development, because there's people who really needs this kind of help. What it's trying to do is trying to regulate the normal dopamine cycle, because that's what happens with pornography addiction and masturbation addiction, is that the dopamine cycle in the brain becomes out of sync. And this practice basically tries to recommend people to practice sex less frequently. For example, if you're single and you're masturbating every day or 2 times a day, the advice is to stop doing it for long periods, and then once the dopamine cycle becomes again balanced, they can have normal sexual intercourse. However, it is recommended that this is done infrequently, so not daily or even weekly maybe. There is no specific recommendation of how often you should do it, but the main advice is to reduce sexual practice in order for the dopamine cycle to become under control. And so the sexual abstention is temporary in order for this to happen, and once the balance is recovered, then it's again normal sexual intercourse. If you have a partner, it can be done. This is what is the basic recommendation. Fortunately or unfortunately, some people in this movement tend to practice also edging. And so edging, if you don't know what it is, basically means masturbation, but they don't reach the point of ejaculation. So some people have said that this is negative for different reasons, including the fact that it is done alone. So the dopamine cycle can continue to be imbalanced because of this practice. So it's kind of how to say, a kind of in the middle practice where people, in my opinion, they are just fooling themselves. They say, okay, so I don't want to stop watching pornography, but I also don't want to masturbate, so I am going to do edging. So they continue to watch pornography, but they don't ejaculate, so they think that this is actually helping their situation. And there are some people who have said that this actually doesn't help, but actually aggravates the situation, because hormones are still released during the arousal that is done during sexual stimulation. The fact that they just don't release it doesn't help the situation, because the pornography addiction is not stopping. So it's just something that usually doesn't have good results. So it is one of the things that happens during the kind of, say, healing period. A lot of people do this until they realize that this is not helping. I mention it because it's very common. Some people even recommend it. I don't recommend it. I don't think it's positive. And then you have again, this is the next level, so to speak. The previous one was Nofap, and there is a whole movement of people recommending Nofap. I think, like I said before, that is something very positive. And then there's let's say more advanced practice that is called Semen Retention, and this is an alternative sexual behavior aimed at helping men overcome pornography addiction and to achieve personal improvement. And this includes sexual abstention, which is temporary, sexual intercourse, now is rarely, and sexual transmutation. So if we compare this to the previous one, in the previous one, Nofap sexual intercourse is done infrequently. In this one, sexual intercourse is done rarely. This is the recommendation, and they add another step, which is sexual transmutation. So I'm going to talk more in detail about this. So semen ejaculation is done very rarely. To help overcome the addiction to watching pornography and excessive masturbation, is advised to transmute the sexual energy into positive activities. So this is the next level up, and people in this movement, in semen retention, they do it for several reasons. Most of them are with the intention to overcome pornography addiction. So it is very common that people move from the Nofap movement to semen retention movement, like the next level up. I think it's positive because it's including the let's say the advice of people to use this build-up of energy that is coming from avoiding constantly ejaculating semen, which is known to produce not only sexual energy but also benefits for consciousness. So people become more aware, they are able to focus more. The main thing is that they try to use this sexual energy, this extra energy, to use it in something creative. So this can be done in business activities. If you're an entrepreneur or you want to create something, for example, you're a writer, a musician or something, so this energy is used, that's why it's called transmutation, because you're using an energy of one kind and you're changing its nature into something different. Unfortunately, also in this movement there is the presence of edging, because it's not natural to be without sexual intercourse. In my opinion, it is not the most natural way for humans. We are sexual beings, so if you have a couple, let's say you're married or you have a relationship and you don't have sexual intercourse, or you have sexual intercourse very rarely, well, cravings come, and because of cravings comes this kind of contradiction, inner contradiction, where they want to have sex but they know they don't want to spill the semen, they don't want to spill the seed, so they resort to edging, and again is going to devolve into watching porn. And so the sexual abstention can only be done temporarily. We know that sexual abstention as such is not sustainable in the long term. So that's why even though this practice has positive results for people, and it is more let's say sustainable than Nofap, because you can have sexual transmutation, so it really helps somehow, but it doesn't address the fact that people really want to have more sex, and Of course, this becomes more difficult if you have a partner. It is even difficult if you're single. So in my opinion, this is also unsustainable in a long run. However, many benefits it has. Some people, they just are completely committed to this, but I see that they probably will have constant problems because of the craving, sexual craving. So it has some benefits, but a lot of disadvantages, in my opinion. So that's why, in my opinion, this is the best solution of all of them, and it's called sexual magic, or it's called also alchemy, and it's an alternative sexual behavior aimed at achieving self-emancipation, and it includes sexual intercourse regularly and sexual transmutation. Semen ejaculation is avoided entirely. Sexual intercourse is performed with the intention to use the sexual energy to awake consciousness, heal the body, and numerous other benefits. So you might be wondering, okay, so how does this work? You have sexual intercourse regularly, but you don't ejaculate, because semen ejaculation is avoided completely. No semen ejaculation whatsoever. So this works in this way. If you have a couple, you are going to have sexual intercourse, and you are going to ideally try to extend the duration of the sexual intercourse as much as possible. So the goal is to not last 5 minutes in the sexual intercourse. Like, I think from sexual statistics, that's the amount of time that in average people last in sexual intercourse. So the point of this is to last as long as possible. How long? It is up to anyone. When I was married, on average, we were going to have 50 minutes sexual intercourse every day for many, many years. So this was really something that you can achieve in a couple, and even if you're not married, this also can be achieved. You can have as much sex as you want. You can have sex as much as your partner is willing to have, and you can please yourself, please herself, and just enjoy life in a more natural way. But semen ejaculation creates this phenomena where if you don't ejaculate it, then you're transmutating, and you're transmutating during the course of the sexual intercourse, and this is done also afterwards. So you can kind of say that is the continuation of the previous one, where is semen retention, where they recommend people to transmutate the sexual energy into positive, creative things. So you are doing this, and you're doing additionally the things that you were doing in semen retention. So you can also transmutate your energy into creative things. So you can use the extra energy you have for your business, for your art, for your craft, for your life in general, and it has many additional benefits. And then some people might think, okay, so what if I want to have children? This is possible during sexual magic, and this is biologically demonstrated that let's say the liquid or the lubricant that comes from the sexual intercourse in men contains sperma. So in the spermatozoids, there is a possibility to create a new human being with this sperm. Even if it is a small amount, actually, we don't need more than one spermatozoid to procreate, to make the egg of a woman fertile. It's you only need one. So you don't need to spill 5 million sperm to create a new human being. You only need one. So even during the course of the sexual intercourse, semen is released, even though in very small amounts, but the semen that is released is the strongest. is the strongest that is present in the semen, and that's why this allows for fecundation, so you can have children if that's what you want. You don't need to ejaculate ever, and this is sustainable in the long run. You can do this 10, 20, 30 years, all your life if you want. So this is really the best that you can do. And some of the benefits is rejuvenation, immortality. Alchemy is documented through history, so it became some kind of let's say like a legend. So, but there are some people that are claimed to have become immortal with the practice of alchemy. You can have perfect physical health, fully awake consciousness, supernatural abilities. You are able to perform acts of magic and enjoy life and sex as its fullest. That's what it is, really. I can say that I was practicing this, and it is really great. Currently, I'm single, I'm not married, so what I'm practicing is something similar to sexual magic, but without a partner. So that's what I'm doing. My partner currently lives in another country, so we don't see each other regularly, and this is something that you can do. There are different exercises for doing the transmutation when you don't have your partner. That includes breathing exercises. Some of them are called pranayama. Pranayama is known in yoga practice, and it will help you to transmutate your energy in a normal, natural way, and is also sustainable. So that's what I recommend people to do. That's what I think young people should learn about all these things. Some people might not be comfortable doing sexual magic. However, I think it is the best solution, and I don't see any how to say disadvantages to it. Absolutely no disadvantages. So this is absolutely the best in my opinion. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and as always I ask you to please like this video, share it in social media, subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.